The alarms had never gone off before, not once in 11 years of holding human children on our station, but they were screaming now, and I stood frozen at the control panel, watching a single unarmed ship drift closer to our fleet like it owned the stars around it. My name is Vesic. I am the director of the Continuance Program, the operation that took 900 human children from their homes and raised them here, far from their planet, far from their families, far from anything that could remind them of who they used to be. We did this because human children showed the highest adaptability score ever recorded. We believed if we removed them early enough, before their minds hardened into that stubborn, defiant thing their species calls identity, we could shape them into something calmer, something safer, something that would never fight back. Earth never sent a fleet after us. No warships, no threats. For 11 years, they sent cargo ships full of grain and machine parts, exactly as our treaty demanded, smiling through every transmission like nothing had happened. My superiors called it surrender. I called it strange. Humans do not surrender. I had read every file on their history, every war, every uprising, every stubborn refusal to stay defeated. Silence was not their nature. Silence was a mask. Now the alarms were screaming, and that one ship kept moving toward us, and nothing about it made sense. It had no weapon signature, no shielding, no escort. Sensors picked up a single passenger, one heartbeat, one life sign, calm and steady, like she was taking a quiet walk through her own garden instead of flying straight into the heart of an armed alien station. I ordered my officers to hold fire. I wanted to know what Earth thought they were doing. The ship docked, the doors opened, and an old woman stepped out. She wore a plain gray coat and simple shoes, the kind made for walking, not for war. Her hair was white and pulled back loosely. She carried nothing but a small cloth bag. No weapon, no device. My soldiers surrounded her immediately, rifles raised, and she looked at them the way someone looks at a barking dog they are not afraid of. "My name is Ellen," she said. "I taught music to children for 40 years before your people took mine away from their homes. I am not here to fight you. I am here to see them." I walked down to meet her myself, because I needed to understand what kind of threat could smile so gently while surrounded by armed guards. "You came alone," I said, "unarmed. Do you understand what that means? You have no way to defend yourself here." "I don't need one," she said. "I'm not the one who should be afraid." Her calm unsettled me more than any weapon could have. I ordered her searched, thoroughly, 3 times. Nothing. No hidden blade, no poison, no device that could hack our systems. Just an old cloth bag holding a wooden flute, a stack of photographs, and a folded letter with a child's handwriting on the front. I allowed her through, mostly because I wanted to see what would happen when nothing happened. I expected her to fail. I expected the children to look at her the way they looked at every stranger who mentioned their old lives, with confusion and mild irritation, the way you look at a story that no longer belongs to you. I was wrong. We brought her to the education wing, where 40 children between 6 and 10 years old sat in neat rows, dressed in identical gray uniforms, reciting lessons in the calm, obedient voices we had trained into them. Ellen stood at the doorway and simply watched for a moment. Then she began to hum. It was a simple tune, nothing dramatic, just a melody, soft and old, the kind sung to babies before they can even understand words. I watched the children's faces through the observation glass, expecting nothing. A boy near the front looked up first. His pencil stopped moving. His eyes went distant, searching for something he couldn't name. Then a girl in the back row turned around fully in her seat, which she had never done before without instruction. Then another child, and another. By the time Ellen finished humming, 12 children were standing. "That's impossible," said my chief researcher, a scientist named Torval who had spent 9 years perfecting the conditioning process. "We removed all early memory triggers. There should be nothing left for that song to attach to." But there was, because we had never accounted for the body remembering what the mind had been trained to forget. Ellen stepped into the room slowly and sat down on the floor, cross-legged, like the uniforms and the silence didn't apply to her. She opened her cloth bag and took out the photographs one by one, laying them gently on the ground in front of her. "This is Daniel," she said, holding up a photo of a smiling boy with a missing front tooth. "His mother makes the same bread every Sunday. She has not stopped making it since the day he was taken. She keeps his portion in the freezer, waiting." A boy in the third row, thin and pale under our uniform, began to shake. Torvald told me later that his name in our records was simply Subject 212. But something in him recognized the boy in the photo as himself, and something in that recognition cracked through 11 years of careful engineering in less than a minute. "You cannot do this," Torvald said to me, panic edging into his voice. "She is undoing years of work with paper and a song." I should have removed her then. I had the authority, I had the soldiers. But I wanted to understand the shape of what was happening before I stopped it, because something told me stopping her would not stop what she had already started. Ellen continued speaking softly, not to persuade, not to argue, just to remind. She told them about their grandparents, about pets that still waited by doors, about birthdays that had passed without them, about people who cried every single night not because they were weak, but because love does not disappear just because it becomes inconvenient. "You were not abandoned," she said. "You were taken. There is a difference, and your hearts already know it, even if your minds were told otherwise." By the end of that first hour, 30 of the 40 children were crying, not from fear, from memory returning like blood flowing back into a limb that had gone numb. Torvald called it a psychological collapse. I called it something else. I called it a door being opened that we had spent 11 years trying to seal shut. Word spread through the station faster than any alarm could carry it. Other overseers wanted Ellen removed immediately, executed as an example, or at the very least silenced. I refused, not out of mercy, out of curiosity, and perhaps something closer to fear, because I needed to know what Earth's true weapon actually was before I decided how to respond to it. I brought her to my private office that evening. I wanted answers. "Why did they send you?" I asked. "One woman, no weapons, no army. Why you?" Ellen studied me for a long moment before answering. "Because we learned something a long time ago that your people never had reason to learn. Empires can be defeated with weapons, but a stolen child cannot be reclaimed with force. You cannot fight your way into a heart that has been locked. You can only remind it of what it already knows. And if the reminder fails? It never fails," she said simply. "Not with humans. We have been separated by war, by distance, by silence, by cruelty far worse than what you have done here, and every single time, someone comes back to remind us who we are. It is the thing your scientists could never engineer out of us, because it isn't in the mind, it's in the body. It's in the blood. It's in the way a child's shoulders relax the first time in years that someone finally sings the right song." I sat in silence, because for the first time in 11 years, I understood exactly why Earth had never sent a fleet. They didn't need one. A fleet could be destroyed, soldiers could be defeated, but an old woman with a flute and a handful of photographs could walk into the most secure station in our territory and undo years of careful, deliberate engineering in a single afternoon, simply by being kind and patient and unwilling to forget. Within 3 days, over half the children refused to continue their lessons. Within a week, they were asking for their real names back, names we had erased and replaced with numbers and simple designations. Within 2 weeks, Torvald resigned from the program entirely, admitting that nothing in his research had prepared him for a variable as powerful and immovable as memory carried by love. High Command demanded I remove Ellen from the station immediately. I did, eventually, but only after she asked to go, satisfied that the door she had opened would not close again. Before she left, she turned to me one final time at the docking bay. "You wanted the one thing that could not be taken from a human being," she said. "Not a weapon, not an army. You wanted to know what Earth feared losing most, so you took our children, thinking that would break us. But you misunderstood the question. The real question was what you should have feared receiving in return." She stepped onto her ship, unarmed, unafraid, exactly as she had arrived. We tried, for a while longer, to continue the program, but something had shifted permanently in every child who had heard that song, seen those photographs, felt that quiet certainty that somewhere far away, someone had never stopped waiting for them. Within a year, the continuance program was shut down completely. Not because Earth attacked us, not because we lost a single battle, but because 11 years of careful engineering could not survive one grandmother, one flute, and one afternoon of memory, returning exactly where it belonged. I still think about her sometimes, sitting cross-legged on that floor, unarmed and unafraid, holding photographs like they were more powerful than any weapon in our arsenal. I understand now what she meant. We searched her for blades and poisons and hidden devices, certain that something dangerous had to be hiding somewhere on her. We never once considered that the most dangerous thing she carried was simply the truth, spoken softly, to children who were only waiting for someone to remind them they were loved.